Picture the Roman Empire in 300 AD, a superstate stretching from the misty hills of Britain in the west all the way to the sun-baked plains of Mesopotamia in the east, encompassing a vast and diverse world. Its cities pulsed with life, filled with engineering marvels like soaring aqueducts, bustling marketplaces, and grand amphitheaters. Roman legions, disciplined and formidable, guarded the empire's immense frontiers, projecting power and order. Rome's ancient traditions and gods seemed unshakable, woven into every aspect of daily existence. Temples stood at the heart of every city, and rituals marked the rhythm of public and private life. But beneath this impressive surface, the empire was beginning to crack. Civil wars, economic crises, and political chaos were eroding the old certainties that had held Rome together for centuries. The streets sometimes echoed with unrest and uncertainty. Amid the turmoil, a new faith was quietly spreading, a religion from the East, centered on the teachings and sacrifice of a crucified carpenter from Judea, whose followers spoke of love, hope, and salvation. Christians, a tiny and often persecuted minority, met in secret, gathering in shadowy catacombs beneath the city to worship and share their beliefs. They refused to honor the Roman gods or participate in the traditional sacrifices, setting themselves apart from their neighbors and risking suspicion. As a result, they were often seen as stubborn outsiders, shunned and sometimes even blamed for misfortunes that befell the city. To most Romans, the idea that this obscure sect could ever matter was laughable, dismissed by the powerful and the elite as a passing oddity. The gods of Rome had always been the guardians of its power. Their grand temples and lavish festivals dominated public life, reinforcing the empire's unity and strength. How could a faith with no temples, no armies, and no visible wealth or influence possibly survive, let alone thrive? With no political influence and little support from the ruling class, Christianity seemed destined to remain in the shadows. Yet, within just a few decades, Christianity would move from the margins to the very heart of imperial power, its symbols appearing on the standards of emperors. The story of Rome's conversion is not just about religion, it's about political ambition, social upheaval, and the collision of old and new ideas. It is a tale of how the power of ideas can reshape history, challenging the mightiest empires and transforming societies from within. This transformation began quietly, in the shadows, before bursting into the light and forever changing the course of Western civilization. Rome's conversion to Christianity was a turning point that reshaped the world. It changed how religion and state interacted, influencing societies for centuries. Before, religion was public duty. After, it became about personal belief and universal truth. Christianity introduced a new identity, membership in a global community united by faith, not birthplace. This shift affected law, philosophy, and social structure, planting seeds for ideas like charity and the value of the individual. The story shows how change is messy, driven by both leaders and ordinary people. It's a classic case of a minority movement transforming a dominant culture. The Christian Church preserved Roman traditions as the empire fell, shaping the Middle Ages and the modern West. Rome's conversion is the essential prequel to European history. To truly grasp the profound impact Christianity would have on the ancient world, we must first immerse ourselves in the complex and vibrant religious landscape that existed in Rome before its arrival. Roman religion was deeply practical and inherently public, centered on elaborate rituals and a vast pantheon of gods: Jupiter, Mars, Venus, and countless local spirits and household deities. These divine beings were believed to influence every aspect of daily life, from politics to family affairs. Religion and state were inseparable. Priests were often political leaders, and grand festivals structured the Roman calendar, bringing communities together in shared celebration and duty. Sacrifice was at the heart of Roman worship. Maintaining the Pax Deorum, or peace of the gods, was seen as absolutely essential for Rome's prosperity and survival. For most Romans, religion was less about personal belief or inner faith, and more about performing the correct rituals at the right times to ensure divine favor. The system was remarkably inclusive. Conquered peoples were allowed to keep their own gods and traditions, as long as they also honored Rome's deities and participated in the imperial cult, which celebrated the emperor as a living god. This flexibility and tolerance helped integrate the empire's incredibly diverse populations, uniting people from many backgrounds under a shared religious framework. The only non-negotiable was unwavering loyalty to Rome's gods and the emperor's divinity. Public acts of worship were seen as acts of allegiance to the empire itself. This strict requirement would soon bring Rome into direct and often violent conflict with the early Christians, who refused to participate in these rituals. The stage was set for a dramatic and world-changing religious clash that would reshape the Roman world forever. Christianity entered this world with radical ideas. It proclaimed one God, a loving creator demanding exclusive worship. Christians refused to honor Roman gods, seeing them as false, which Romans viewed as anti-social and subversive. Their refusal to join public ritual was seen as civic defiance, threatening the Pax Deorum. Christianity's message was socially revolutionary. All people were equal before God, offering hope to the poor and marginalized. The church became an alternative family, caring for the needy and building strong communities. Christians spoke of resurrection and final judgment, fueling rumors and suspicion. Their secretive rituals led to wild accusations, incest, cannibalism, and hatred of humanity. This mix of exclusive belief and misunderstood practices made Christians objects of distrust, yet their radical message was quietly gaining ground. The Roman state, usually tolerant, saw Christianity as a threat and periodically persecuted its followers. Early persecutions were local, often sparked by disasters for which Christians were blamed. In the 3rd century, emperors demanded public sacrifices to restore Rome's fortunes, an impossible demand for Christians. Refusal meant imprisonment, exile, or execution, creating the first empire-wide persecutions. These persecutions produced martyrs, men and women who chose death over renouncing their faith. Their courage inspired others. As Tertullian wrote, "The blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church." Paradoxically, persecution strengthened Christianity, attracting new converts impressed by believers' resolve. The church grew more organized, developing networks to support its members. The great persecution under Diocletian was the harshest, but it failed to destroy the faith. Instead, it set the stage for Christianity's most unexpected triumph. Diocletian's great persecution was meant to end Christianity, but within a decade, everything changed. The empire that once hunted Christians now stood on the brink of transformation. As the faith endured in secret, its followers gathering in hidden catacombs and clinging to hope. Constantine, a rising general with ambitions for the throne, claimed a vision before the pivotal battle of the Milvian Bridge, a cross blazing in the sky and the words, "In this sign, conquer." This moment would change not only his fate, but the destiny of an entire empire. After his victory, which he attributed to the Christian God, Constantine and his co-emperor Licinius issued the Edict of Milan in 313 AD. This groundbreaking decree granted religious freedom to all, ending centuries of persecution and allowing Christians to practice their faith without fear. Christianity was now legal, confiscated property was returned, and Christians could worship openly in public spaces. For the first time, their faith was recognized and protected by imperial law, and their communities began to flourish. Constantine favored the faith, funding the construction of grand churches and appointing Christians to high office. Yet, pagan traditions persisted throughout the empire, and many Romans still clung to the old gods. Temples remained open, sacrifices continued, and Constantine himself kept the ancient title of Pontifex Maximus, the chief priest of Rome, symbolizing the delicate balance he maintained between old and new beliefs. The empire entered a transitional phase, old and new coexisting side by side, but with imperial support now tipping the balance in favor of Christianity. The city's skyline began to change as basilicas rose alongside ancient temples. Rome did not become Christian overnight, but the alliance between emperor and church was now sealed. This partnership would shape the future of both the empire and the faith for centuries to come. The faith moved from the margins to the mainstream as Christian symbols appeared in public life, and worship became a visible part of Roman society. Constantine's reign marked the dawn of a new era for both Rome and Christianity. The transformation was underway, setting the stage for a world forever changed by the rise of a once persecuted faith. Imperial favor brought new challenges for Christianity. The faith, once defined by opposition to the state, was now entwined with imperial power. Constantine saw church unity as vital for the empire's stability, leading him to intervene in theological disputes. The Arian controversy, debating Christ's divinity, threatened to split the church. In 325 AD, Constantine convened the Council of Nicaea, the first universal church council. The council, with the emperor presiding, condemned Arianism and produced the Nicene Creed, defining Christian orthodoxy. The emperor now enforced religious unity, dissenters faced exile, bishops gained power, controlling wealth and wielding political influence. The church's hierarchy began to mirror the empire's own structure. Christianity was becoming an institution as powerful as the state itself. The century after Constantine saw Christianity's steady rise. Emperors varied in their support, but the church's momentum was unstoppable. In 380 AD, Theodosius I made Nicene Christianity the official state religion, banning pagan practices. Temples closed, sacrifices ended, and even the Olympic Games were abolished. Paganism lingered in rural areas, but old traditions were often blended with new Christian practices. December 25th, once a pagan festival, became Christmas. The Christian Church inherited Rome's legacy, preserving law, language, and learning through the Middle Ages. Art, architecture, and education were transformed by the new faith. The story of Rome's conversion shows how belief can reshape empires. From a persecuted sect to the heart of power, Christianity changed the course of history. An idea born in obscurity had conquered the world's greatest empire.